Welcome. My name is Bruce Kiefaber, and I'm glad you could join me today. Today's movement session is going to be slow, smooth, and rhythmic. The rhythm is going to be provided by our breath. We'll typically move in one direction on the inhale, a different direction on the exhale. So the rhythm will be breath-based. What we're going to focus on today is feeling movement. And we're going to pause a bit after several different movements and see how they feel. Where's the energy? Where's the prana? Where is the muscle heat from that particular movement? You should treat everything that I say today as a suggestion. If something doesn't feel right for you, doesn't feel good for you, don't do it. We can modify as needed. There's no sense in pushing it to try and do something that I'm suggesting if it doesn't feel good for you. So let's get started, shall we? We're going to start in a standing position and start with our feet about hip width apart, knees slightly bent, feet on the floor. We're going to find 3 points on each foot. We're going to find the base of the big toe, base of the pinky toe, and the center of the heel on each foot. And we're going to try and balance those 3 points in terms of how hard they are pressing and grounding into our mat. So ground those 3 points. And then let's bring our attention to the breath. I just want you to watch what's going on in the breath. We're not going to control it in any way, just watch it. We want to watch and see how long an inhale takes, how long an exhale takes. So let's take a few moments here so you can determine how long your inhale takes, how long an exhale takes. Most of us fall between a 2 to 4 second inhale and anywhere from a 2 to 5 second exhale. So the inhale and the exhale are going to be what drives our movement. It's our metronome. So let's find our 3 points on the feet. And on the next inhale, lift the inner edge, the point of the big toe. Exhale, come back to all 3 points. On the next inhale, lift the outer edge of the foot, the pinky point. Exhale down. So each inhale will lift. Each exhale will release. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. Let's do one more cycle and then pause with all 3 points evenly weighted. And then I'd like you to unweight the heels. They can touch the mat, but don't have any weight on them. Touch the mat, no weight. And then we'll do the same movement. Lift the outer edges of the feet on the inhale. Exhale, back to the 2 front points, the big toe point, pinky point, both evenly grounded. Next inhale, lift the big toe points. Exhale, release. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. And release everything. If you need to step, wiggle, please do. We're going to look at a back position that we're going to use throughout this sequence. And what we're going to do is we're going to stand in a knee bent position. We're going to lift the arms up, and we're going to notice what happens to the back. What we're going to get is a very long, extended back, where the thoracic curve, which is usually in a bit of a concave curve, is going to straighten a bit. So we're going to be a long back all the way from our sacrum up to the base of the skull. A nice long, smooth curve. And that's a long, extended back. We're going to use that back position in a number of poses that we're going to do today. So let's do a few repetitions of that movement. We're going to inhale up, exhale down. Inhale up, exhale down. On the next inhale, I'd like you to pause with the arms lifted and just take a quick snapshot of what that long extended back feels like. And release. So we're going to move into a little work with the hamstrings. And what we're going to start with is a long range of motion for the hamstrings. It's a forward flexion, and I'm going to stand sideways so you can get a better look at it. So again, feet is going to be about hip width apart, and we're going to bend the knees. And then all of the movement takes place from the hips. The back is going to be in that nice, long, extended back that we were just experimenting with. Some people find it helpful to bring their hands behind their back. That helps them with that long, extended back. I'm going to do that. So, with that nice long back, on an exhale, we hinge right here. The back stays nice and straight. We hinge forward. We come up. So each exhale will come down. Each inhale will come up. And I'd like you to experiment for how deep you go. You can go very deep on the exhale. Inhale up. You can go very shallow on the exhale. Inhale up. So experiment with that a little bit. The back stays nice and straight. Knees stay bent. And we're going to modify that movement a little bit. We're going to go into an asymmetric movement. I'd like you to lift your left heel so that the front of the left foot is down, left heel is lifted. It's not a big lift, just a little lift, but the heel is off the mat. Exhale down. Inhale up. Put the left heel down, lift the right heel. Exhale down. Inhale up. Right heel down, lift the left heel. And I'd like you to continue that same movement, but experiment a little bit with how deep the forward flexion is. Try some shallow ones. Try some deep ones. And try some in the middle. What I'd like you to do is focus on your hamstrings and feel them lengthen as you come down. Feel them engage to bring the torso back to a vertical. Lengthen the hamstrings. contract the hamstrings. Let's do one more each side. And release. What we're going to look at next is adding a little bit of rotation in the upper thigh and the hip joint. We're going to do a forward flexion, and then we're going to move side to side, and I'll stand a little bit askew here. So again, feet about hip width apart, nice long back, that long extended back. We're going to forward flex a little bit, then we're going to move the torso and the head to one side, swing it over to the other side, come back to the middle, and come up. Exhale down, inhale to one side, exhale to the other side, and then inhale as you come back to center and up. And you can vary which side you go to first. Try to make this nice and smooth. Exhale down, inhale across, exhale back to center, and inhale up. Let's do a few of those on your own. You can experiment with how deep you come in the forward flexion, or quite shallow with the forward flexion. Feel what's going on in the hip joints and the upper thighs as we add this twist into the upper legs and hip joints. Let's do one more. And release. We're going to do one more in this little sequence. What we're going to do is combine the lifted heel and the head and torso swinging in an arc. This is what it looks like. So we're going to lift the heel. I'm going to lift my right heel to start with. We're going to forward flex down. We're going to swing first towards the outside of the planted foot. My left foot is planted, so I swing left, I swing right, and then I keep my position towards the right foot and come up. I put the right heel down, lift the left heel. Forward flexion, move outside the planted foot, move inside towards the lifted foot, and holding that, move up. Left heel down, right heel up. Outside of the left foot, outside of the right foot, come back up. Here's the breath work in this particular movement. Left heel is lifted, right heel's down. Exhale down. Inhale to one side. Exhale to the lifted foot side. Inhale, come all the way up. Left heel down, right heel up. Exhale down. Inhale outside the planted foot. Exhale to the lifted foot. Inhale up. Right foot down, right heel down, left heel up. Exhale down. Inhale outside the right foot. Inhale as you come across to the lifted foot. Inhale up. I'm going to let you do several on your own. Let's do one more each side. Remember, the first movement is towards the outside of the planted foot. Then you come toward the lifted foot and come up. And release. We're going to take a look next at some movements from Constructive Rest pose. So we're going to move a little bit and prepare for that. The next series of poses that we're going to do, we'll do from Constructive Rest pose, which is laying on your back with your knees bent and your feet flat on the floor. Most of these movements focus on the pelvic area here, upper thighs, lower torso, hip joints, lower back. Most of these movements feel really good. And so what we're going to do is we're going to do some movement, and then we're going to allow a little time for releasing, relaxing, and feeling the energy that's created from that movement. So let's start in Constructive Rest pose. This is Constructive Rest pose. With your hands, you can do a couple of different things. You can just put them on your chest. A couple of these we're going to actually specify. So I'd like you to interlace your fingers like this and put them behind your head. And then what we're going to do is we're going to move just the knees, just the thighs. We're going to let the feet hang down. We're not going to lift. Let the feet hang down. On an inhale, one leg moves towards your chest, the other leg moves away from the chest. On the exhale, they move in the opposite direction. So you'll notice my toes are just tapping. They're not transferring any weight to the mat. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. So if your inhale takes 3 seconds, it's going to take 3 seconds for this knee to move from here to here. 3 seconds. Nice and slow. And while you're doing this movement, I want you to notice your lumbar curve. When we interlace the fingers and put them behind your head, typically that's going to lift your lumbar, and you're going to have a little bit of a forward tilt on the pelvis, and that's what we're after here. By tilting the pelvis forward a little bit and lifting the lumbar, we kind of eliminate the quads, the hip flexors, from producing this movement. It tends to focus the movement more to the psoas and less to the quads and the upper hip flexors. In terms of how long to do this, since I'm guiding, we'll go until I start to feel some heat from this movement. And at that point, I'm going to do maybe 4 or 5 more cycles, and then I'm going to release. You should release whenever you start to feel some heat from this movement. And after we release, I'm going to release right now. I want you to relax and feel what you can feel from doing that particular movement. Lots of people initially feel a muscle heat, muscle energy in the top of the thigh, but after pausing for a few seconds, they usually find that the prana, the energy, shifts down into the lower torso, into the pelvic bowl and the floor of the pelvis. So let's just relax here and just feel what you feel. from doing that movement. And let's get ready for the next movement that we're going to do. This movement's going to target the lower back and the obliques here that allow your lower torso, your pelvis, to twist independently of the upper torso and the shoulders. So we're going to start with the thighs vertical, and we're going to take both knees to one side. And don't go past 45 degrees. We don't want them to go all the way down. 45 degrees to the side, come back up. Here's the breath work. Exhale with the knees to the side. Inhale to center. Exhale to the side. Inhale to center. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Let's do one more. I want you to feel the movement of the pelvis as it rocks from side to side. Notice that movement. And release. So we're going to do that same basic movement, but we're going to have the legs work independently of each other. And this is how it's going to look. So we start again with the thighs vertical. And we're going to take one leg down to the side. Let it drop as far as it will. The other leg maintains a vertical position, and this knee and this hip push up towards the ceiling. Come back to center. Right leg down to the side, back to center. Left leg down, back to center. Right leg down, back to center. The breath work here is exhale down, inhale up, exhale down, inhale up. So I'm going to let you do a couple of these on your own. Just notice the pelvis rocking back and forth and feel, if you can, what muscles are being used. Where do you feel the muscle heat, the energy from this particular movement? Notice that from the ankles down, or from the knees down, we're just letting the feet dangle down. We're not lifting them in any way. So let's do one more each side. Exhale down, inhale up. And release. Back to constructive rest pose. And we're going to take a few moments here to relax and to feel whatever energy we can feel from that particular movement. Let's bring our attention back to the breath. We're going to do a slight modification to that particular movement. We're going to start here again. We're going to drop one leg, the other leg stays up, but the leg that drops, we're going to straighten at the end of the knee drop. Inhale back to center. Exhale, knee to the side, and straighten the leg. Inhale, back to center. Exhale down. Inhale up. If this is a little too intense for you, just do the knee movements. You don't need to straighten the leg. Feel the pelvis rocking back and forth. Feel the lengthening of the leg as it shoots out to the side. And release. And we'll take a few moments here, just relax, breathe, and feel. Usually, when you extend a leg in an awkward position like that, you're going to feel some stretch and you're going to feel a little more energy throughout the entire leg instead of just up here at the hip joint. So take that in. Take a few more breaths here. And we're going to do one more movement from Constructive Rest pose, and that is going to be focusing on the glutes and the sacroiliac joint back here where the sacrum and the pelvis come together. Shift my receiver. All right, so starting from Constructive Rest pose, you're going to want to pull your heels in towards your butt to whatever is going to be comfortable for them. So bring your heels in as close as is comfortable. And then on the next inhale, we're going to push one knee away from the head. One knee moves towards the head. So something like this. This knee away, this knee coming towards the head. Exhale and release back to the middle. On the next inhale, reverse that. This knee pushes away, this knee pulls forward. Exhale and release. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. There's the movement. A couple things you'll notice here. The pelvis stays on the ground, on the mat, but the side of the pelvis, in this case the left knee, this side of the pelvis is lifted off the mat. The right side is still anchored down into the mat. Inhale, exhale and release. After a little while of this, you may start to feel some heat back here on the glutes. And when you start to feel some heat back there, do 3 or 4 more repetitions. And then release. And again, few breaths here, relax, release, and feel what you feel. we're going to move into table position, which is hands and knees. Like this. Hands are going to be a little bit wider than shoulder width. Thighs are going to be vertical. You're going to have a nice long back. And we're going to start from this position. And first of all, we're going to find our breath. And we're going to do a little bit of movement with the legs with the breath. So on an inhale, we're going to lift a leg straight back. Exhale down. Inhale the other leg straight back. Exhale down. When you lift the leg, extend it back away from you as if the leg were getting longer and extending away from your head. Exhale down. Inhale, extend. Exhale down. Inhale, extend. Exhale down. There you go. Let's do a couple more cycles. And release. So we'll stay in table position. The next movement we're going to do is going to be a movement that's created from the glutes and the upper thigh, and it's going to be a hip lift. So here's what it looks like. We're going to extend one leg back. We're going to let this hip drop down towards the mat, and then we're going to lift it, keeping the thigh vertical, the planted thigh vertical, and the extended leg parallel with the floor. Exhale down, bring that leg down. Inhale, other leg goes out, hip lifts. Exhale, bring that hip down, knee down. Inhale, lift. Exhale down. Inhale, lift. Exhale down. There we go. Let's do a few more. As you do this, I want you to look at your arms. Tendency when the hip lifts is to let the opposite elbow collapse like this. What I'd like you to do is to keep those arms straight so that the twist that we're creating here takes place in the spine. When you drop a shoulder like this, you reduce the twist in the spine. You may think you're helping, but in this case, the alignment is much more important than how big the hip lifts. So let's do one more each side here. Arms nice and straight. Inhale, lift up. Exhale down. There we go. That movement that's created by the glutes and the upper thigh is a really important movement for general balance and general stability. We're going to look at two more movements from table. The first one's called fire hydrant, and this is what it looks like. We're going to start again, long table, thighs vertical. We're going to take one knee straight out to the side and then down. And the movement with the breath, inhale as you lift. Exhale, bring the knee down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, down. Let's do a few more on your own. and release. So we're going to look at a variation on that pose. We're going to start with the knee lift. So inhale as the knee comes up. Then we're going to take this foot, this leg, and shoot it back across the body so that the foot is on the other side of your body. The hip is lifted, similar to what we were doing previously with the straight leg. So notice the position. The foot is way across the body. Hip is lifted way up. There's a big, long lengthening, in this case on the left side of the body. Bring the knee back and down. So inhale, lift that knee and straighten and extend that leg back. Exhale, bring the knee back and down. Inhale up, straighten and extend that leg. Exhale, back to start. Let's do a few on your own. When you lift that leg, feel two things: that leg extending back and across the body, and the hip lifting up towards the sky. And the same holds true for the arms that we mentioned previously. Keep those arms nice and straight. Let's do one more side. And release. And if you can sit somehow comfortably, I'd like you to just notice, what do you feel from that movement? Where do you feel the heat, the energy, the prana, whatever you want to call it? What do you feel from doing that movement? We're going to move into a little bit of standing movement next. We're going to do a few movements from a standing position, and we're going to start with a classic squat. So we're going to use our arms for the squat. As the arms come back, we're going to lengthen the back, similar to how we created a long back earlier on when we were doing that forward flexion. We're going to create that same long extended back as the arms come back. And then as the arms come forward, we'll squat. Long back, squat. And here's the movement. Inhale as you come up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. And release. Nice. When we started this sequence, we were looking at 3 points on the feet. Base of the big toe, base of the pinky, center of the heel. I'd like to return to that same thought. Balance all 3 points on both feet. We're going to do a little bit of work here with balance and one-footed movements. So balance both feet. Bring your attention to your left foot. Anchor that left foot into the mat. like there's a huge magnet pulling your foot down into the mat, into the ground. Slightly lift your right foot. We're going to tap the toe here. We're going to rotate from the hips, bring that hip forward, tap the toe forward, tap the toe to the side, rotate the hip back, tap the toe back. So there's our three taps. Side, front, back to the side, and then back behind. The key here is to rotate the hips to allow the foot to tap. We're not just moving from the hip joint and moving the leg. I want the hips, the pelvis to rotate around the planted leg. Come back center and release. Now let's anchor that right foot, all 3 points balanced. Anchor that foot into the ground. A slight bend in the knee. Let's take the left foot up. Start with a front tap, side tap, and back. Side, front, side, back. Let's do 2 more cycles here. Keep your attention on the anchored foot, in this case my right foot. Anchor that down into the ground. And release. And just relax for a second here. Take a few breaths. Feel what you feel. How does it feel? Where does it feel? Some of us will probably say lower back, some upper thigh. There is no right answer. You feel it in a number of places. We're going to do next the movement. Again, it's a one-footed movement, a balance movement. We're going to take the right leg, we're going to lift it up and across the body and come down. Left leg comes up and across the body and down. Now, the breath work. Inhale as you lift. Exhale as you put the leg down. When you put the foot down, anchor that foot into the ground. Keep your attention on that foot anchoring as you lift the other leg across. Knees should stay slightly bent. And when the leg comes across, the opposite hand should come to touch the outside of the thigh. So here is all of it together. Inhale, lift. Exhale, down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, down. As you lift the leg up, extend the spine. That long extended spine that we've been working on with this, that sort of long extended spine is what we want as you lift the leg up. Inhale, extend the spine up. Exhale, down. Let's do one more each side. And release. And take a few breaths just to feel what you feel. For our final movement, we're going to combine the last two movements that we did. And this is what it's going to look like. We're going to start with the leg coming across. Then we're going to bring the foot behind in that tap position. Extend that back leg and come out. Lift the other leg across. Extend it back, toe down. Extend that leg and step out. Now you'll notice when we extend that leg, watch what happens. There's a big twist here. The pelvis rotates around and step out. Leg up, leg back, extend that leg, step out. Let's put it together with the breath work. Inhale, lift the leg forward. Exhale, leg back. Inhale, extend that leg, the pelvis twists. Exhale, back to center. Inhale, lift. Exhale, back. Inhale, extend. Exhale, back to center. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Let's do a few on your own. On the next two, I'd like you to watch your shoulders and the alignment of the shoulders. Tendency when the foot comes back is for the shoulders to kind of follow the hips. What I'd like you to do is to have the shoulders track straight forward. If I was facing this way, I would say it would face the front of the mat. But in this case, it's going to track with the side of the mat. So inhale, lift. Exhale, back. Extend on the inhale. Notice the shoulders. They stay parallel with the front. Exhale out. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Extend that leg. Exhale and release. Let's do one more each side. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Thank you very much for joining me today.